Here's the new beginnings. Here's the new beginnings. The pull up so independent. We pull up so
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Sloan Blueprint. I am your co-host, Nicole Sloan.
And I am Eric Sloan.
And we are glad that you've joined us again today for another episode, or today, tonight, whatever it is in your part of the city, country, whatever, wherever you are in the world. We just appreciate you joining us again. Take it away, mister.
You be flowing, so I be trying to let you do what you do. But this episode, I think we get to delve into the aspects of mental health. Now, I see from the news, and then we see in society that mental health is huge, but not many people talk about mental health from an entrepreneurship, and especially from a couplepreneurship aspect of it. So wanted to dive into that just a little bit and just have a conversation, I think a meaningful conversation, a conversation that is certainly needed and needs to be out in the community just a little bit more.
Right. Mental health is a very important topic. We often overlook the importance of mental health as it relates to, like you said, in entrepreneurship, in your relationships, especially for those of us that are running businesses with our spouses.
What you trying to say?
Help us. And we need it. We do. We need it. So, and it's a vast topic. Really, it is. So it's just something that we need to discuss more in our community.
Well, exactly.
In our families.
Then with that, I think sometimes people fail to understand. I guess sometimes those lines get blurred just a little bit. Understanding how things transition from work, and then sometimes how they can transition into your personal life. So if you're stressed out at work, and then how that carries on into if you're not able to digest the information and then transition or even make that transition, then when you take that information home or you take that feeling home and you never get any time, release. So I guess what we'll do today is talk about some of those areas and potential tools or techniques that they can potentially use, and then of course later on try to bring in an expert to help us dive into it just a little bit more.
Right, and mental health, it's not just diagnosable conditions. A lot of people think that it's just, if you go to your mental health counselor, psychiatrist or whatever, and they tell you, well, you have bipolar disorder or schizophrenia or some type of phobia. It's not just diagnosable conditions. It's things, like you said, that are going on in our personal lives. And it's vital to recognize and address those issues head on, because it's just the things that we think or we feel, how we're coping with everyday life, the ups and downs. And I know I can relate to that. And it is just, sometimes the pressure can become a little bit to bear for some. And I know we've been there personally. I can relate myself. And so people need to understand this. It's not just I'm schizophrenic or I'm bipolar or I have a phobia. It is just learning to cope or coping with everyday life challenges. And that is what even the mental health aspect or learning more about it is all about, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
If that makes sense.
I'm wondering when we're going through that, and then, we have challenges and things going on, but I think the first step would be, like anything, like in a marriage, being able to have that open communication and when I mean by open communication, being able to freely express how I'm feeling and being able to have that comfort level, especially with your spouse, being comfortable enough to have that conversation, let them know, hey, this is what's going on from a work standpoint. This is what's happening. I have this much work going on. I'm just stressed out.
Yeah. And not only that, just being able to share your fears, whether it's about the business or just in general, just everyday life things, your concerns. We tend to not open up as regularly as we should, and that's really important, to dealing with the challenges and the things that we face, the issues that we face daily. And so I feel that honesty being transparent with one another, whether it be your spouse or if you've got a business partner, whomever, somebody, just an accountability partner, somebody that you trust, that you can talk to. It's important that you open up. And then you gain a mutual respect and a mutual support, But again, somebody that you trust.
Yeah.
Not somebody that's going to go and tell all your business. I mean, you got to be wise.
Yep. And I concur with that as it relates to, what is it, sharing the load. Sometimes you put so much stress on yourself and feel like you're the only one that's going through this, or nobody else feels the way that you feel. And I'm pretty sure those are some of the conversations that you have in your mind, because I'm the only one that's going through this.
Right.
I'm the only one that can fulfill this, or I got to do it. It's almost like the I versus a we. And sometimes you have to incorporate that we into, of course, the relationship, into even the struggles that you may be going through.
And I probably would love to take a poll too when you say that of women and men. And women, I think we're a little more open with our communication.
Oh, yeah.
We're a lot more emotional than men. So, of course, we tend to talk a little bit more. And so I feel, and I don't know about statistics, I haven't researched this, and maybe when we have our mental health counselor on, they can, enlighten us a little bit. But I feel that men tend to hold things in a lot more than women. Y'all know we just go off like, hey, wait a minute, this is going on, and you did this, but really, I think we're a little bit more open. Men tend to just kind of hold it in, bottle it up. Would you agree?
I would agree with that 100%, but I think a lot of that comes from upbringing as well. So I think sometimes when a man is expressive, sometimes he's what society calls it, the angry black man. So then you have to shell your emotions sometimes, and then you've become accustomed to shelling it so often that it's like, well, what's the point? What's the point in communicating that? Well, it's going to be the same thing. So sometimes you have to get out of that that self depleting thought process, like, I don't value, or my opinion doesn't matter, or it's not valued as much. So sometimes if somebody else doesn't value your opinion, then you need to value it enough to know that you need to take it further, or seek assistance or counseling, or whatever it may be.
Which goes back to just like what you just said. That's why you have to seek help. Seek someone that can help you see it from another point of view, and that can assist you in being able to sort out those feelings or emotions that you're going through, because you don't have to keep it in. You don't have to hold it in. None of us do. But on the other hand, when we talk about that, just keeping the lines of communication open, we have to set boundaries. You have to set boundaries. We've talked about this several times before, but there has to be a distinction between work and personal time. You got to make it a habit of spending quality time with each other as when you're in a relationship or a marriage, right?
True.
It's really important, because business can't always be just the topic of conversation. I say this all the time, y'all. I'm just saying. But
really,
keeping it real, because sometimes we find ourselves doing that, and we have to realize that there needs to be separation, because that also not only helps you mentally and me mentally, but it helps us to be able to perform better in business, but also, number one, as a couple in a marriage, in a relationship, right? It affects every area of your relationship or your marriage.
Yep. And then sometimes, even with that, when we define the work hours, sometimes I think the personal time in our relationship, we need personal time and to be able to date and do things like that. But it's also individual time, I think, that you need. Sometimes you may need to, we have couple massages and we do things like that, and we go a lot of places together. But sometimes you may just have to go by yourself, or have a girls trip, or have a fellas trip. But also understanding when you're having those girl trips and fellas trips, it's with responsible individuals, because you got some, that
wilding out. Yeah. They're gonna get you in trouble when you get home.
We just say marriage gone wild.
For real. But yeah, you're right. Because that is important. Look, I know for me, I got to have my little personal time with Jesus. Like, God, okay, me and God, I need to talk to you, because there's some things going on that, not necessarily that I can't talk to you, but some things I just need to take to God first, and eventually it may come to you. But God is my first source, and of course, I'm not negating mental health counselors, whatever we need to do. But for me personally, I have to have the individual time to just go to God and say, okay, God, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. I really don't want to be bothered with anybody. You know, I need you to help me before I go off. I don't know, y'all, when keeping it real goes wrong. But anyway.
Do you go off? Really?
Whew. But anyway, so when you talk about that, the individual, the personal time, then it's important that we take care of our physical health. Mental health and physical health, because all of those things, you know, when you're taking care of yourself mentally, then to me those kind of
intertwine.
There you go. Thank you. I was getting ready to say I don't know what I was getting ready to say.
I got you.
Intertwine. And that means you gotta, for your mental health, we gotta exercise regularly. I know that's one thing that I harp on. I try to do, and sometimes we put it off, but we ride bikes together. What else? Eating better.
Well,
as we get older.
Well, definitely, especially from an exercise, regardless if you have a gym membership.
Yeah.
You go early, late, however, but that, I think when you do that, that helps release those endorphins. I was saying release those endorphins that just, I guess that, what do they call it? That feel good.
Yes.
It helps you feel better about yourself, and then as you're doing that, then you start looking more physically, and you look in the mirror, and then you're like, okay, check this out right here.
Because when you look good, you feel good, right? So that's true.
What do you say? When you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you play good.
That's right. That's right. And all of that, getting proper rest. I'm guilty of it. I'll stay up till midnight, 1 o'clock. You do it too. But see, the only thing about you is, now this one right here, he'll get his nap in during the day, 30-minute, hour, 2 hours, but then he'll sit up, till 3 o'clock in the morning. But if it works, but that is important that we get that rest that we need, because again, it affects our mental health, it affects us physically, it affects us emotionally. Because if you're tired and you're sleepy, 9 times out of 10, unless you just have a whole lot of self-control, you got a tendency to maybe go off on somebody, don't you?
You saying this a lot. You built up tension on the show.
Not on camera. But really, don't you feel that's true?
No, I agree. But then another thing, as far as from the physical side of the house, you're working, you have insurance, utilize that insurance. Go and get your regular checkups.
I know that's right.
That's significantly, I guess, a integral part of just that physical aspect of it, getting your checkups. Because most times when you go to the doctor, then that doctor comes back with a clean bill of health, you're like,
right.
Just where you can release.
That's right. And when you said that too, going to our next thing, when you talked about insurance, make it intentional to seek professional help. Sometimes our insurance will cover those mental health, whether we want to see a therapist or psychologist or counselor, right?
Well, and sometimes they'll cover the massages that you get, especially if you have a physical ailment and then that massage is doing that. So
I need to check into that today. Today. But yeah, and don't feel like if you have to seek professional help, a lot of people feel that it's just a stigma regarding mental health. If you seek mental health counseling, you're crazy. It's embarrassing. What will people think? Will they think I'm crazy? But there's no shame in reaching out to a mental health professional or seeking help. I'm learning that too, because again, sometimes life just overwhelms you, and you will find yourself in a place that you wouldn't ordinarily be in because you don't have anybody, especially if you're not talking it out to somebody.
Well, and that goes, sometimes you don't feel, you love your mate or you love your friends and but sometimes in your own mind, you're thinking like, they're just not going to be able to understand.
Right.
And then sometimes it's better to talk to somebody that you don't have an emotional connection with or that you don't see every day, because you don't want everybody to be in your business.
That's
especially if somebody holds you in high regard or high esteem. It's like, well, what if they see me in this particular way or they see me in that way? So if I'm able to talk to somebody else that doesn't know me, and then I'm able to express myself a little bit more freely, then that may, in the end, work out a little bit better, where you can get that off your chest. So now all that stress is not on you.
Yeah.
Now you're not beating yourself up mentally, which then if you're beating yourself up mentally, then it turns into physical.
It does.
And then when your physical breaks down, or when your mental breaks down, then your physical breaks down, then guess what? You don't have anything else too much going for you.
That's right, because again, we got to be healthy in mind, body, and soul. And so, if you're not healthy here, then as you said, it affects us physically. You start breaking down, you start having all these aches and pains, and you wonder where, now some of that is with age, y'all. Witness. I wake up in the morning like, oh Lord, help me. Why am I so stiff?
I'm not speaking that. I'm 21.
I ain't speaking it. Just what happens, but I just speak over it at the time. Like, Lord, okay, now I need you to take this away.
21. We still.
It's all right. Yeah, all in the mind. That's right. All in the mind.
Well, then it goes, I guess, into
I'm sorry.
relaxation.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about.
Okay, that's so relaxation, and then mindfulness and relaxation techniques. So I think a lot of people know yoga, being able to do that, and I've done it. It's amazing what that does for you, just from stretching, and then just the limberness that you get, and the mentalness that you get when you're doing that, because it's quiet. You're just breathing and relaxing and stretching your muscles. Then you get up and you just feel like, oh my God.
You said mentalness. What you mean?
Mindfulness.
Like mindfulness?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean? I'm just trying to make sure I understood. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. And then just taking some time to meditate. I meditate on God's word.
As you should.
There's a lot of other little stuff out there people do. I'll leave that at that. But just be mindful of what you're meditating on. Because never mind. And so deep breathing, that can also help manage stress levels. We talked about going to a spa, getting a massage. What are some other good, and we talked about exercising and all of that.
But deep breathing, if you look at it even from a sports standpoint, that's one thing that, even in my day when I played, it was, essential.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. It was essential for us to do that, because you got to just hold it for a little bit and just let it go. I know we tell our son that all the time whenever he's going to bed, hey, take a deep breath. And I think from a pro sports standpoint, I think each one of the batters, before they go in the box, they try to take a deep breath so that they can relax their mind, relax their body, to be prepared. So if the pitch is coming, they're more focused at that time to get a pitch. So if it's working for them in their athletic pursuits, especially at that time when I think their energy is up, it's like the stress level is up, everything is up.
Most times you're in pressure situations.
Correct.
So that's important, what we talked about, being able to relieve that pressure. So it's what we say, relax, relate, release. That's pretty much what we need to practice that
Correct.
too. So we tell him, practice what we preach, because I know I need to do that. A lot of times I let things get to me, and I, just take a deep breath.
Well, that's a good thing. And that's something that I think everybody should practice every day, or like every hour or something like that.
Right.
Just take a moment, just sit down for 30 seconds, and then just take, long, deep breaths.
Yeah.
Allow your mind to relax, allow your body to relax, allow your muscles to relax, allow everything to relax and reset itself.
And one other thing, unplug. You got to unplug from things sometimes. We know our phones are ringing, our emails are chiming. We got people pulling on us in so many different directions. Sometimes you just got to unplug. Go on a vacation, whether it's with your spouse, or if you have, like we talked about, taking that personal time by ourselves, but unplug. If you're used to doing like me, going to bed at 1 o'clock, then change your habits. Try to make it a habit of going to bed maybe even a little early, even if it's 11, 10:30. Just make steady progress.
Now, do you understand that a lot of people consider that being extremely late? So you got some that go to bed 8, 9 o'clock.
I don't know how people do that. How y'all do that? That's like you going to bed with your toddlers. Come on, baby, we going to bed. But and for us as parents, and especially we have older children now, but back then we used it, even though they would go to bed at 8:30, we used that the rest of that night to get things ready for the next day, to just kind of, again, have that time to kind of just decompress. And a lot of parents do that now, because I even pick on my brother all the time. He'll put the kids to bed, and then by then Brandon's in there. I was like, what you doing? Oh, I'm in here cleaning up the kitchen, or I'm getting ready to work out. And I'm like, at 10 o'clock, dude, so. But maybe that's his way of just relieving that stress and that maybe whatever anxieties for the day.
Well, yeah, I think it goes both ways, because some people do that late at night, but then some people go to bed early and jump up
early in the morning,
3-4 o'clock in the morning, get their workout in. So if you're doing it at that time, typically you're doing that before everybody gets up. So now you're not being distracted, and then it helps start your day off.
Right.
So
And
that,
see, my problem is that, and see, that's why I got to, because I'll still go to bed late and get up really early to do all that, but I got to just make sure I push that time back some.
yeah, see, that's why you got to.
Oh yeah.
When that time
I'm
comes,
taking notes.
regardless of what's going on,
I have taken
you
notes.
go to bed.
That's right.
Like yours truly.
No doubt. That's keeping it real, for real, real.
I need you to agree with it.
Okay, well, what do you want me to say? But we're gonna wrap this episode. and in that, I want to just say, please take heed. Mental health is just as important as any business metric. Forget the businesses.
I agree.
You know, because again, if you're not good here, you're probably not going to be good in business, in your relationship, and anything else. You know, everything's so fast paced now, so it's easy to forget about ourselves. We lose ourselves to so many demands in life. But when we prioritize our well-being first, then all of the other things kind of fall into place.
Yeah, and one of the things we were talking about, definitely safeguarding your health from the standpoint, understand your physical well-being helps your mental, and then if both of those are intact, then that helps you in every other area of your life. It helps you in your business. It helps you in your relationships. It helps you in your friendships. It helps you in your community. It helps you in all aspects of your life. So make sure that you take care of your health and truly safeguard your health and build those relationships and build your business to new heights.
So, and just remember, as we wrap also, it's okay to reach out. It's okay to take a break. Don't allow anybody to convince you otherwise. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to prioritize you and your mental health first. Because what do they say on the plane? You tell me this all the time. What they say on the plane? Before you assist somebody else in putting on their oxygen mask, what you
make
got
sure
to
you
do?
put yours on
Right.
first.
Because how can you take care of anybody else if you haven't taken care of yourself first?
Correct.
And I just equate that to mental and physical health because, again, it has to be just that important to us. Take care of you first, and then all the other folks and everything else will follow.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank y'all for joining us. You want to tell them how to connect with us?
Sure, absolutely. Continue to follow us on the Sloan Blueprint on all social media platforms. We have Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then we also on Spotify, but on your iPhone, if you click follow or go to your podcast app and type in Sloan Blueprint, click follow, and then every time that we release an episode, you'll be able to get that in and then go back and rewind and listen to some of the hilarious things that we say that we talk about.
And be sure to friend us, like Eric said. Follow us, friend us, share from all of our platforms with your family and your friends. Y'all know what we always say: mama, daddy, cousins, aunties, uncles, your pastor, them, everybody. Everybody. Don't forget, we are the Sloans. We have Boss Times 2 merchandise still available for purchase. And if you have any particular topic that you would like for us to discuss, please email us at info@sloanblueprint.com.
You do that so beautiful.
Oh, Will. He trying to bribe me, y'all. Mental health. But on that note, we are signing out. We appreciate you again, and thank you for joining us for another episode of the Sloan Blueprint.
The new beginnings. The pull up so independent. We pull up so independent.